So Wizard Liz is going to be doing a talk tomorrow at the Oxford Union about whether the commodification of women's bodies has gone too far. And you guys know I love her, but she is on the opposing side. Please, I can't keep defending this.
As a woman, your looks are an investment for the opportunities that come your way, the people that you attract in this lifetime, the things that you want to do, and so much more.
I'm on YouTube with 8 million subscribers. I was signed and I started making money from YouTube 4 years ago. After my first video immediately went viral. I have around 20 million followers on my other social media platforms that I also make money from. If this was a man with that many followers, no one would question where his money came from. But because I'm a successful woman that built myself up from zero, people have to credit my success to a man.
If you have a man that's constantly showing off how much wealth he has to you or how much he has, ask him to transfer it to you. One time I had this guy that was trying to date me, and constantly he would send me DMs in a private jet holding so much cash, like whatever, until a point that I literally told him, instead of showing me videos of you having cash, send the cash to me. Deposit me the money. Don't be afraid to ask men for things. Like, men are literally not afraid to ask us for anything. They will ask you to take your clothes off in 2 seconds, so it doesn't matter. Ask them, give me money.
But when you put the barrier of money and make them pay for sex, whatever happens regardless, they will be forced into change. They will not want to see women in power, so they will have to do things differently. And for the first time, they will have to deal with the consequences of their own actions. Use the patriarchy and their system against them. Make them pay for their loss. Money is power. People will listen to women with a lot of money because unfortunately that is all this capitalistic society cares about.
You guys, we have to talk about what just went down at the Oxford Union because this was honestly one of the most chaotic influencer moments we've seen this year. Like, people are calling it a full-on disaster. TikToks are going viral, Reddit's having a field day, and Wizard Liz, yes, that Wizard Liz, just got dragged after her big debate moment turned into what some are calling a total meltdown. So here's the deal. Wizard Liz, who you probably know from her self-help rants and tough love empowerment speeches, the one who's often compared to the female Andrew Tate for better or worse, was invited to the prestigious Oxford Union to debate one of the most heated questions of our time. Has the commodification of women gone too far? And from the moment she opened her mouth, things just got wild. Like we're talking shouting in a chamber full of polished debaters, making statements like make men pay for their lust, and going viral for all the wrong reasons. Some clips have already surfaced on TikTok and Twitter, and let's just say the facial expressions of people sitting next to her said everything. One girl literally looked like she was trying not to laugh. But it doesn't stop there, because people also started bringing up Liz's past, including those long-standing rumors about how she really got rich before YouTube. Like, sure, she blew up online, but a lot of folks are now saying this debate just exposed how unprepared she was, how off-brand it felt for Oxford, and how messy influencer culture has become. And honestly, the backlash is growing by the minute. So let's rewind for a second and go through exactly what happened in that debate chamber, who else was there, and why people are saying Wizard Liz just lost her crown in front of the whole world, setting the stage and showing where it all started going sideways. So here's how it all started. The Oxford Union, a place that's hosted everyone from presidents to pop stars, decided to tackle this heavy topic. Has the commodification of women gone too far? Like, we're talking fashion, beauty, entertainment, Instagram, dating culture. Basically the whole system where women's bodies are turned into marketing tools, filtered content, or literal currency. Now here's where things get spicy. On the proposition side, aka the people saying yes, it's gone too far, you had Lyanna, the fitness influencer who's known for those glowy wellness reels and her calm, graceful delivery, and Cameron Russell, a legit Harvard grad and fashion model who's given TED Talks on this very topic. And then, on the opposing side, arguing that commodification hasn't gone too far, you had Wizard Liz. And listen, the internet already had feelings about this setup before she even stepped up to the mic. There were even rumors that Mia Khalifa was originally supposed to be in Liz's spot, which just added more fuel to the fire. Now, the idea Liz tried to push was this: that women can actually benefit from this system. That by monetizing their looks, their image, even their desirability, they're just playing the game smart. She called it reclaiming power. Others called it delusion. But even if you were open to her argument, the way she delivered it was what had people shook. Instead of calm, composed reasoning, Liz went full internet mode, passionate, loud, and unapologetic. Some called it powerful. Others said it was just her trying to cover up weak points with volume, and you could literally feel the tension in the room. The audience was side-eyeing, the other speakers were staring blankly, and social media was already clipping it for memes before the debate even ended. But the real chaos? It started when she brought up her past. And we'll get into that in the next part. Her defense moment was supposed to clear the air, but it kind of made things worse. Okay, so halfway through the debate, Wizard Liz decides to address the elephant in the room. You know, the years of whispers and Reddit threads about how she really made her money before YouTube, the rumors about men funding her lifestyle, luxury trips to Dubai, and all those cryptic posts she used to make about being spoiled. And instead of sidestepping it or brushing it off, Liz went there. Like full-on, unapologetically leaned into it in front of a room full of Oxford scholars. She said, and this is almost word for word, "If this was a man with my level of success, no one would question how he made his money. But because I'm a successful woman who built herself from zero, people have to assume a man was behind it." Which, okay, valid point. But context matters. Because at this point in the debate, people weren't just questioning her income. They were questioning her credibility. The whole room had just watched her argue that commodifying women isn't a bad thing, and now she's kind of confirming that she did exactly that. The optics were not working in her favor. And the internet pounced. TikTok blew up with clips of the speech, but instead of applause, a lot of users were like, "Wait, did she just out herself?" One person commented, "Girl, you can't say the system is empowering and complain that no one respects you for playing the game." Another wrote, "You built yourself up by monetizing your body, then came here to defend the system that let you do it, while yelling?" But the real viral moment came when she dropped the line, "Use the patriarchy against them. Make men pay for their lust." Yeah, that clip alone has been reposted over 100 times, and not always in a good way. Some were hyping her up for speaking boldly, others were saying she sounded more like a villain monologuing in a drama series than a serious debater. And as if things weren't tense enough already, her tone during this moment lit a whole different fire. Stick around, because in the next section we're going to break down the backlash over how she said it, because apparently Oxford wasn't ready for someone yelling girl boss slogans in a courtroom. Her words were one thing, but her tone, that's what really set the internet off. So here's where things went from messy to absolutely unhinged. Because after Liz made her case, defending herself, defending commodification, and throwing in that now infamous "make them pay for their lust" line, what really pushed people over the edge wasn't just what she said, it was how she said it. She was loud. Like, really loud. The kind of loud where you could see people in the front row flinch. One attendee literally had their eyebrows raised the whole time, and the girl sitting next to her looked like she was trying not to laugh mid-speech. You know it's bad when the audience reaction goes more viral than the actual speaker. People flooded the Oxford Union post with comments like, "Why is she yelling? Does she not know this is a debate?" And "This isn't a TikTok live, girl, it's Oxford." Others were quick to defend her, saying she was just being passionate and that her voice had to carry in the massive hall. But most agreed, it just came across too much. One viral comment summed it up like this: "She didn't sound powerful. She sounded like she was trying to convince herself." Ouch. And it didn't help that her opponents, Lyanna and Cameron, sat there in total composure, never raising their voices, never even looking flustered. That contrast was brutal. It made Liz's delivery feel even more out of place, like she didn't know the room she was in. Or worse, didn't care. There were also deeper critiques bubbling under the surface. Some pointed out how Liz's tone felt eerily similar to online influencers who turn up the volume when they're losing the argument. One Redditor even wrote, "She's used to talking over people on her own channel. But this wasn't a solo monologue. This was Oxford." And to top it off, someone dug up her speaker description in the event pamphlet. While everyone else had credentials like Harvard alum or political analyst, Liz's bio just said YouTuber and podcaster. That alone became its own meme. But trust me, this wasn't even the harshest feedback she got. In the next part, we're going into the online reaction aftermath, including snark from Reddit, clapbacks on X, and why people think this might have been her fall-off moment. Once the clips hit social media, there was no coming back. So once the debate wrapped and the TikTok clips started hitting For You pages, it was game over, because the internet did not hold back. What started as a controversial moment turned into a full-on reputation crisis, and the feedback was brutal. On Reddit, especially in forums like R the Wizard Liz Snark, the reaction was immediate. The top-voted comment, "She just embarrassed every woman who ever tried to be taken seriously in a room full of men." Another said, "Of course she's on the opposition. She's literally the poster girl for commodifying femininity. She is the product." And then there was this gem. "Don't put her in Oxford debates if she's going to scream like she's filming content in her car." Meanwhile, over on X, things were somehow even more unfiltered. One tweet that racked up thousands of likes read, "Why does Wizard Liz think she's still on her IG stories yelling at her ex? This is Oxford, not a self-help TikTok." Others dragged the event organizers, with one user saying, "The bar has officially dropped. We went from inviting presidents to inviting podcast influencers who treat a historic chamber like a motivational stage." The memes came fast too, side-by-sides of Lyanna sitting calmly in pearls, while Liz throws her hands in the air. One even labeled it, "When you do your homework versus when you wing it on vibes." Even Liz's speaker profile at the debate got roasted. While the other participants were listed as scholars and professionals, Liz's card just said YouTuber and podcaster. Someone screenshotted it and wrote, "This is why we need gatekeeping." But perhaps the most telling shift was from her own fans. People who once praised her for boldness were now asking if she had gone too far. One TikTok comment under her clip read, "I used to love her, but this just feels performative now." And that's the thing, this wasn't just a bad take or a loud delivery. It was a moment that cracked her image, and it happened in front of the most traditional, intellectual audience she's ever faced. So, was this a one-time stumble, or are we watching the start of her downfall? In the next section, we're going to compare how the other side handled it and why so many people walked away Team Lyanna. While Liz was making noise, the other side was quietly making a point. So while all eyes were on Wizard Liz and the chaos unfolding around her, something else was happening. Quietly, confidently, and without the yelling. The proposition side, led by Lyanna Deeb and Cameron Russell, took a completely different route. And honestly, it worked. Let's start with Lyanna. If you don't know her, she's a fitness and lifestyle influencer, but not in the flashy, shouty way. Think soft aesthetics, calm delivery, and that signature quiet confidence. At the debate, she stayed totally composed. No raised voice, no personal drama, just facts and firm conviction. People were honestly impressed with how she didn't even react to Liz's intensity. One clip shows her just blinking, letting Liz's rant hang in the air, and the internet loved it. Then there's Cameron Russell, who, let's be real, came in with serious credentials. Harvard grad, TED Talk speaker, and a former fashion model who spent years talking about how the industry objectifies women. Her argument wasn't emotional, it was strategic. She used statistics, personal experience, and cultural context to lay out why commodification hurts women long-term. No catchphrases, no shock value, just substance, and that's exactly what made them stand out. One person on X said, "Lyanna didn't have to yell, she just had to sit there and let Liz unravel herself." Another posted a meme of Cameron looking calm while Liz gestured wildly, captioned, "This is what Oxford thought they were getting." But what's most telling is this. Even though clips of Lyanna and Cameron didn't go viral in the same way Liz's did, people still walked away on their side. The internet might love a spectacle, but when it comes to serious debates, professionalism still wins points. And some viewers even admitted that while they were initially Team Liz, this debate made them rethink that. "I used to think she was all about female empowerment," one comment read. "Now it just feels like she's selling a brand, not an idea." So yeah, while Liz was trying to command the room, Lyanna and Cameron just earned it. Next up, we'll break down what all this means for Liz's brand moving forward, because this wasn't just a bad day. It could be the start of something bigger. This wasn't just a bad moment. This might have cracked the whole brand. So let's talk fallout. Because this Oxford moment, it's more than just a viral clip. For Wizard Liz, it's the kind of public moment that can seriously shift how people see you, not just as a content creator, but as a voice of authority. And let's be real, her whole brand was built on being that voice. A no-filter, tough love empowerment coach who tells it like it is. But what happens when that energy doesn't translate in a room that isn't curated for her? That's what we saw at Oxford. The problem isn't just that she was loud or that her argument leaned too far into hot take territory. It's that for the first time, she wasn't the one in control. This wasn't her YouTube channel. This wasn't a viral short with comment filters. It was a room full of high-level thinkers, and she got challenged on delivery, on depth, on legitimacy. And the cracks showed. Now, a lot of influencers have made the jump into mainstream spaces, but it only works when they adjust to the room. Emma Chamberlain at the Met Gala? She adapted. Mr. Beast at Forbes events? He's strategic. But Liz came into Oxford like she was still filming a reel, and that disconnect hit hard. Some people are now calling this her fall-off moment. Others say it's a necessary wake-up call. Either way, the brand took a hit. And what's worse, it gave ammo to critics who've always said she's more hype than substance. And yet some of her fans are still riding for her, saying this was a bold move, that she dared to shake up an old institution, that Oxford needed a little chaos. Maybe there's some truth to that too. But it's clear this debate didn't just put Liz under the microscope, it exposed the bigger tension between influencer culture and academic credibility. And in a space like Oxford, clout just doesn't carry the same weight. Now the question is, can she recover? Or is this going to be the moment that sticks whenever someone Googles her name? Stick around, because in the final section, we'll wrap it all up and ask the question everyone's thinking. Was Wizard Liz out of her depth, or just ahead of her time? Either way, people are going to be talking about this one for a long time. So now that we've broken it all down, the yelling, the viral clips, the Reddit takedowns, and the silent strength of her opponents, there's really only one question left. Was Wizard Liz totally out of her depth? Or was she just playing a game Oxford didn't know how to handle? Because here's the thing, like her or not, Wizard Liz showed up. She walked into one of the most elite institutions in the world and gave a speech the internet hasn't stopped talking about since. Maybe it wasn't polished. Maybe it wasn't what the Oxford Union expected. But it was memorable. And in the world Liz comes from, that counts for a lot. Still, let's not pretend it was a win. This was a moment where the performance got louder than the point, where the message got tangled up in the drama, and when you're going toe-to-toe with calm, articulate debaters like Lyanna and Cameron Russell, yelling just doesn't hit the same, especially in a room built on nuance, not volume. But here's the real takeaway. This debate wasn't just about commodification. It became a mirror, showing us how influencer culture clashes with legacy institutions. It showed how style and substance don't always align. And it proved that when you step outside your curated space, your delivery matters just as much as your message. So what now? Is Liz going to bounce back with a podcast episode addressing everything? Probably. Will her fan base defend her no matter what? Absolutely. But even they can't deny that this wasn't her strongest moment. This wasn't the girl boss mic drop. It was a wake-up call. Now it's your turn. Drop a comment. Are you Team Liz or Team Lyanna? Did this debate actually change your view on commodification, or was it just internet chaos dressed up in Oxford robes? Either way, one thing's for sure. Wizard Liz came to make noise, and she definitely succeeded in that.